So I'm in work waiting. It's funny, I started this job yesterday's agency, and I'm just covering a bloke who's had a hip operation. And I said to the agency, I said, I want 3 days a week. Yes, they said, but can you just do a week this week to help us out? All right. What's it like? Oh, it's simple work. If the agency tell you that it's easy, that it's not very many hours, that it's a doddle, they're lying. That's their job. Their job is to get your bum on the seat, and after that, as it all falls apart, then they've got to tell you, oh, well, just manage out the week. And at the end of the week, oh, well, just one more week for us. And then just carry on like that until you're hooked or stuck or whatever. So anyway, there are good sides. The truck I was in was a Scania. And the new Scanias have a stereo so loud that actually when the bass cut in, I thought the load had gone over in the back. It was amazing. And the lights, fucking absolutely spanking. It's like broad daylight when you put those on. So it wasn't a V8, so I was always going to be late. Anyway, back to the job. So I get speaking to some of the drivers later on in the day, and they should, you know, health and safety, it's always warning you about potential dangers. Well, this is probably one of the places where they should put a trip hazard for fucking morale, because the morale's so low, you could trip over the cunt. All the drivers are complaining here that what they actually wanted was something similar to me, or they wanted, I don't know, 10 hours a day would have been fine, or, you know, whatever. And they're all being pushed to the max, and they're all absolutely pissed off of it. But the other thing is, the management seem to be under the impression that that the drivers are all taking the piss. Now, there are some, apparently, that do go and park in a lay-by that have got an easy shift and they know what they're doing. But the rest of them have been dogged to buggery. And there's definitely always been, obviously, a difference between management and the workforce. But it seems to me nowadays in massive companies that have streamlined their efficiency, if you like, and they've got it pinned down quite well, that the driver is just nothing really to them. I can get another. This was part of the problem with globalism. When you flood the market full of cheap labour and people who will work for less, then drivers who know what their worth is will end up out of a job because they simply can't work for it. And it gives companies like this arrogance, total and utter arrogance against the low people. And it's like, oh, well, I'll break him and get another. And it's the same with the agencies. I'll get another. I'll get another. And they do ruin people's life by lying to them. People's health goes downhill. You can see a lot of these people here aren't healthy. The ones that have been here full time, you can see they're not well. There's a lot of blokes and women that don't look after their diet, obviously, but being on the road's difficult. But the continuous stress, the continual long hours, you can see it's taking its toll on them. Clearly it doesn't on me because I don't give a fuck. And I think today, I thought they were going to send me out with somebody for training. I went, don't worry, you don't need to train me. I won't be here next week. They were like, oh, really? I went, yeah. But before you do something like this, you have to make sure you've got something else to go to. And I've made a decision that even though my last boss could be a bit of a cock, I had to leave the job before I could negotiate what I wanted if I went back. And I can do 3 days a week now, which will give me the same amount of money as 5 days a week here, less the half hour each way travel, fuel, etc. But it also gives me more flexibility, and I can do YouTube a lot more. The other problem with this job is the cabs are all recorded, so I couldn't really do much in the cab. You've got to turn the engine off and all the rest of it, and yeah, you're practical. And the people that do work here, the long-termers, they love the job, and they do seem a bit on the left, but literally they go to the pub and talk about the job, and they all snipe behind each other's backs. So it takes 2 seconds for them to find out I had a YouTube channel. I'd be up the road anyway, even if I wanted to stay, which I don't. But yeah, the industry's in a bad way, and there's people just don't appreciate the drivers. The drivers don't get paid what they're worth. Say for instance, 4 years ago, if you were doing this job, you'd have been paid £17-18 an hour. They're on £14 an hour and treated like shit. So there it is. What do you think? Do you think people should just shut up and get along with it for the sake of, I don't know, low cost. What really gets to your tits when you're out there slogging your way through all this fucking pulling the curtains back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, and when they're sending you to places that you shouldn't be, and it's poor planning, or the planners run you around in circles all day long because it's easier for him, just not for you, or whatever. When you're doing all this, and you're tired, and you're wet, and your shoes are leaking water, I gotta get new boots. You're thinking about these immigrants that have come over the shore and are now tucked up in a 4 or 5 star hotel, 3 meals a day, all the bills paid for, clothes, phone bill, spending money, etc. And you think, where the fuck did I go wrong here? What's right about this? And there's a lot of people that are on the sick that aren't actually sick. There are people that are sick, obviously, but you know the ones that aren't, that have managed to blag the doctor or blag whoever it is. And yeah, when you're either piss wet through early hours in the dark or at night, or you're in an event that's bad, and you think to yourself, why am I fucking doing this when other people are getting everything for nothing? Why? And it can breed real resentment and bitterness. And there's a lot of people that have probably thought to themselves, I could blag the system and end up going on the sick. But it's just not them. It just wouldn't sit well with them because they're not idle, low-bred, fucking moralless bastards. But I have to say that I'm fairly sure that the system has made the case for breeding as much hatred between different races, whilst hammering it home to us that it is our strength, that it's the best thing for us, which it isn't. And yeah, you know, it's even the Polish people and the Romanians that have come over here that are doing this job are sick of it. What does that tell you? What they came from. But they know when they're getting their leg lifted. Anyway, I just thought I'd share this with you because it is what it is. Anyway, I've been told I've got to sit around for an hour and a half, but if it carries on, I'll just have a poke it and fuck off. And I'll go, because it just... planning, or lack of. There it is. Whatever. I'm off. I'll speak to you in a bit.